Hello guys, this is Dios GFX. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get notified anytime I release a video. So yeah, today we're going to be discussing the topic color theory. So we're going to be talking about color theory today. So let's dive right into the video. So as you can see, I've um like I've placed some sort of color wheel on my screen. Today we're going to be discussing um what color theory is all about. So I'm sure you're familiar with the word color. I'm sure you're familiar with you all are familiar with the word color. So what is color theory? What is color theory? So color theory is a collection of rules and guidelines which designers use to communicate with users through appealing schemes in visual interface to pick the best color every time. Designers use color wheel and refer to extensive collected knowledge about human optical ability, psychology, culture, and more. So here we use colors and color schemes and color wheels to um get the real replica, or let's say the real replica of what we've seen in reality or what we've visualized. So after we've known what color theory is all about, let's know what are the different theories. Let's know what are the different theories in color theories. So the color theory are organized on colors and wheels and are grouped into three categories. So we have three categories three categories in color theories. So we have the primary color, we have the primary colors, or we can use ORS. So the primary colors, we have the secondary colors, and we have the tertiary. So yeah, we can use, so it depends. Some use OURS, some use ORS. So we have the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. Those are the basic categories of colors we have. So after that, we are going to be using these three basic colors to get what we want. So after that, what are the principles of color theories? We just need to know all these basics first before I'm going to be showing you how to get your how to get any skin tone of your choice, any color palette of your choice. You can get skin tones of your skin palettes of your choice. So after knowing these theories, we can just dive into knowing how to simply identify skin tones and how to get color palettes that you would like to use for your painting. So yeah, let's know what's the principle of color theory. What are the principles? What are the principles of color theory? The principles of color theory. So the principles of color theories or color wheel starts with three primary colors, which are the red, yellow, and blue. as you can see, here, we have the what? We have the red, green, and yellow. So these are the basic principles of color theory. These are the the basic principle of the color wheel. These are the basic principle of the color wheel. These are the ones that decide what you're going to get at the end of your searching of colors. You can just, any slight change you get here, it shows you, like, it actually chooses the color for you. So this is just the basic principle for finding a specific um color palette. So after that, let's know what the 7 color schemes are. So the 7 color schemes are the monochromatic, we have the analog logos, we have the complementary, we have the split complementary, we have the triadic, we have the square, we have the rectangle, we have the rectangular. So I'm going to just paraphrase on how to know which one is the monochromatic, which one is the monochromatic, which one is the analogous, which one is the complementary. So let's just dive into it right now. So this is what we call the monochromatic. Having a single color scheme. But when we have like 2 complementary colors, which are these one, which are the yellows, for example, the yellows and the purple. The yellow complements purple. This is what we call the complementary colors. This is what we call the complementary color schemes. So let me just quickly write them so that you can see what I'm actually pronouncing. First, the color schemes we are having. Number 1, we have the monochromatic. Number 2, we have the analogous. We have the 3, complementary. We have the 4th, the split complementary. We have the 5th one, which is the triad, and we have the 6th one, which is the tetradic. So yeah, these are the basic 3 color schemes we're going to be looking at today. So yeah, let's go back to the monochromatic. At first, it's choosing like a specific color, which is for now we're using the yellow color. So this is just for this is picking a specific color, like that's the monochrome. Mono means one, so this is just like a specific color on your color wheel. And what's analogous means is, analogous is like combination of 3 different colors, which let's say the light purple, which is the 1, and we have the yellow 2, then we have the orange, which is 3. These 3 colors are what we call, when you combine them, these are what we call the analogous. This is what we call the analogous. Then when you on your color scheme or color wheel, when um, you select a particular color, let's say our yellow color. When you select a particular color, which is yellow color over here, the opposite color you get, the opposite, directly opposite color on your color wheel, which is in this case, which is the purple color, is our complementary color. This is just the easiest way to identify what a complementary color is. So this is just like a opposite color of this initial color. So when you can just easily identify what a complementary color of a blue is, and you can just um, identify the exactly what a complementary color of orange is. You can identify the complementary color of light green. So yeah, you can just simply identify their complementary colors by checking the opposite colors, opposite colors. So yeah, we've talked about we've looked about the monochromatic. We've talked about the analogous. We've talked about the complementary, then the split complementary. The split complementary color are the combination of three colors. For example, we have the for example, I like using orange because it's one of the best color used to explain this theory. So as you can see, there is a variation of colors over here, so you just make sure you know what a yellow color is, and you can easily identify the color. So our split complementary is a combination of three colors. Also, it's a combination of three colors, but it's not same as the analogous, because this complementary is going to be you're going to be identifying the first color, which is the yellow, then split it into and split your arrow into two, which will lie which will lie which one of your color will lie on the blue. Then just like an angle like do it on it like an angle shape, and make sure you're doing something like this. Because this is the best way to like get your split complementary. So let's going from the word split, that means it comes at the center, then it splits into two, so giving you a three side shape, like a three side arrow. When it comes from one side, then it meets in the center, then they split into different sides. So this is just the explanation of split complementary. When it comes to the center, then it splits into two different sides. So that's where you can get, by splitting the arrow into three different sides, you can get your split complementary, which are the red, the yellow, and the blue. So yeah, this is the easiest way to get your split complementary. Then the next thing we're going to be looking at is our triad. Our triad. So our triad is also similar to our split complementary, but in this case, our triad is going to be dividing into three different sides, two different sides, which are highly, what will I say, they are highly apart. Because if you can check the arrow we drew in the split complementary, we drew these two arrows nearly close to each other. So for the triad, we are going to be separating them far apart from each other. So like this one, when you draw an arrow, then you draw an arrow far apart from each other. So let's do it on our color wheel. To identify our triad color, we are going to be drawing an arrow. When it meets at the center, it divides. So we're getting a lighter blue over here, then we're getting like more of an orange or lighter red over here. So this is the best way to get your triad. And that's the best way to get your triad, using a like using like something like this. There's arrows far apart from each other, 3 different arrows far apart from each other. Then the next color scheme theory is the tetradic. The tetradic is from the word tetra, which is 4. From the word tetra, which is 4, we're going to be doing something like a cross, which combines 4 colors, which are like, for example, one from one arrow, the second arrow, the third arrow, and the fourth arrow. So this is what we call the tetradic, combination of 4 different arrows to get the like combination of 4 different arrows to combine into combination of 4 different arrows to like get our color scheme. So let's do it on our color wheel. So the combination of our yellow, which is 1, then you can just draw a straight line, 1, then you can just draw middle, 2, 3. Just more you just do more you just draw more like a cross shape, like just more like a cross shape. It's going to give you, if you can draw an accurate cross shape, it's going to give you the tetradic color scheme. So here we are having the orange color, we have the pink, and we have the light blue, or let's say the sky, let's call it the light blue. So yeah, the tetradic is a combination of yellow, orange, pink, and light blue. So yeah, this is just like a crash course on how on what the color theory is all about. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into how to identify color tones, tunes. But before then, I'm going to be explaining what HSL is. I'm going to be explaining what HSL is. As you can see, this is what we call HSL, the HSL. So we're going to be explaining what the HSL is. We're going to be explaining what the HSL is. Then later we're going to be explaining what the RGB is. The RGB, which are this. So yeah, we're going to be explaining all these theories now. So the HSL is simply the hue, the simply means the hue, the saturation, then the light, and some call it V, HS view, some call it HSL, So it depends on you. Some call it value, some call it value, some call it light. So yeah, let's see what HSL means. So HSL is a combination of hue, saturation, and light on your color wheel. So what is hue? What is hue? What is hue? So hue, the meaning of hue is more like but first I would like to let's just go. Let's talk about hue at first. I'm trying to think about something else, but let's just define what hue is. So hue in color theory literally means color. This is the simplest definition that I can tell you. In color theory, hue means color. That's variation of color. You can say variation of color. So a variation of color is what we call hue. That means this, as you can see, this is just variation of color. That means you can, as you move to this side, as you move this your H button to this side, the color varies. As you move your hue to this side, your color varies. So the more you move your hue, and also applies to this side, the more you move your hue to this side, it changes color. The more you move your hue to this side, it changes color. So as you move to this side, it changes to yellow. As you move to this side, it changes to light green. As you move to this side, it changes to green. It changes to light blue. It changes to blue. So that's how it changes to purple. It changes to pink. It changes to red. Then it changes to orange. So this is just a simple definition of or explanation of what this hue is all about. So we've seen what hue is all about. Let's see what saturation. Is all about. Saturation. So saturation is simply the light, the brightness, or will I say let's turn this to back and let's undo all this stuff. So yeah, saturation, which is the S over here, which is the S over here, is saturation is the range from pure color, which is 100%, to gray. We can also simply explain it to be the lightness and the darkness of a particular color. So that means if you've selected a particular color over here and you want to like increase its reduce its saturation, you can just simply drag it back. It's going to it's not the lightness. The light is the lightness and the darkness. Light or value is the lightness and the darkness. That's the lightness and darkness. the light and lightness and the darkness, which you can easily see it by this. When you drag it to the right, it increases the lightness, while when you drag it uh, to the left, it becomes dark. So saturation is just simply a range from the pure color to 100%, which is this one. Pure color, for instance, this one is red. Pure color to That's our pure color to the gray color. As you can see, it can simply um, change into gray. So you can just is the range. You can just say is the range of color to gray. So it turns from 100% color to a gray color automatically. So, and also the light color of values is the lightness or darkness of a particular color. So after we are done knowing all these theories, enough of the making noise. So let me just show you um how to get your skin tones, the simplest way to get your skin tones after you've already have a little bit knowledge on after you've already gathered a little bit knowledge on your color theory. Let me just show you how to use a light skin color, a light skin palette, color palette. Light skinned color palette, then a dark skinned. So we're going to be basically identifying the dark skinned. There are different variations of dark skin, and there are different variations of light skin. So I'm going to be showing you the first variation, which are mostly for Africans, and the second variation, which are mostly for the white, to the white people. So yeah, let's go. Let's and the first um variation of the dark skin is mostly for the dark, actually the dark melanin Africans. And also the second variation of skin tone is those who are having like a chocolate like skin. So yeah, I'm going to be doing the four different variation of skin tones. So let's just stick into the video. Let's um just see what I'm going to be doing right now. So what you're going to be doing now is you're going to be identifying your skin tone, your light skin tone. First of all, when you drag your color wheel, as you can see, I can drag my color wheel, my hue. I can drag my hue to whichever side I want. So what you're going to be doing is make sure your hue is in between the orange. Make sure your hue is in between your orange and your orange and the red, which is here. This is the main reason why I left these screenshots over here, so that you can easily identify the place you can place your color wheel selection. So this is the place you should keep your color wheel. So after you've placed it over here, you you should move your you should move after you've placed it over here. I would advise you to move your saturation towards for easy identification, make sure your hue is 23, and make sure your saturation is, I think your saturation should be around, your hue 23, hue, hue should be 23, then your saturation should be, you can shift your hue, let's see, we can shift your hue to get some magenta a little bit. You can shift your hue to 19 or 18, then your saturation should be 60. Your saturation should be 60, then your light should be 60 also. So yeah, this is just the simplest way to get your mid tone. As the mid tone or half tone. So this is the half tone for our first light skin, which is basically for mainly for Africans. So when you trying to get half tones or mid tones for a more light skinned person, we can just simply shift your saturation. Just shift your saturation to either 100%. Then make sure your light is between 78 or 80. Make sure your light is between 78 or 80. That's the L. You can just shift it to 78 or 80. So let's apply it over here. So this is 78 or 80. Then let's go back to this initial one. I'm going to be picking the color just to like yeah, then we can to get the shade the shadows, that's the dark color of the skin tone. We can just simply drag our selector towards this end, and just simply drag it towards this end. So we're going to be going with this. So make sure you select your light is at 30, then your saturation should be at 70. So we're going to be applying it over here. So this is just like a first dark color. We can still go deeper. So we can just decide to like shift our light to the left to either 10 or 11. It depends on how dark the skin is. You can still shift it to 20. It depends. So it depends on this reference you're working on, but I'd advise you to like leave it a little bit darker just to like get the difference. So let's leave it at 20. So as you can see, it's showing the difference actually. So yeah, we've gotten like 3 variations of skin tones. So let's look for the highlights. So the easiest way to find your highlights is just like to drag your light towards the right. You can drag your light towards the right. Just keep dragging your light towards the light, and I would advise you to go with 80. You can go with 80, but if you need the highlights to like pop out more, you can still proceed to 90. It depends on your reference, and you can also shift your saturation a bit towards the towards 90, and shift your saturation a bit towards 90, or you can even make it 100. It doesn't really matter. So again, you can, to make some variations in color of the highlights, because sometimes highlights varies with the main skin tone. You can shift your highlights or the hue, this hue into you can shift it towards the um you can shift it towards the yellow a little bit, and let's shift our hue to 40 or 41. You can make it 40 or 41, so it's going to be giving us like a lighter, like our highlights is going to be giving us the lighter part of the face. So this is basically what I do to identify or to get my color palette ready for like a normal fair skinned um painting. That's basically for a normal scale fair skinned, not too fair. I'll just, let's call it a light skin, a dark light skin. So let's go with a light skin. Let's try using this mid tone for the light skin, which is basically for the white people. So let me show you how to get the light skin for the white people. um you're simply going to be, shifting your light first. You're going to be shifting your light first, then shift your saturation. When you shift your saturation a little bit, then you shift your light. I'm going to be calling the figures I'm using for this. So yeah, let's use light skin are mostly not having too much dark shadows, but it depends on your reference though. So yeah, I would advise you to, when you're shifting your hue, should shift it towards magenta, which is the pink, towards pink, and make sure your saturation is at 60. Yeah, at 60. So yeah, your light should be at 30, 31, doesn't matter. So your light should be at 30, then your saturation should be at 60, then your hue. So this is just basically how I use my skin tones. You can still, it depends on this what you're getting, on the reference you're using. You can still change all your settings. You can make your dark shadows to be more of a pinkish color. You can also add blushes, like pinkish color. You can just play around with colors, and really, it really depends on you and on the reference you're using. So yeah, then the how to get your highlights. Select the midtone, then you shift your light to 90. Yeah, you can still shift it to 90. Make sure it's not 100%, because if you shift it to 100, it's going to be giving you a white color, a total white color. So yeah, I would advise you to shift it to 90, then shift your saturation to 100. So yeah, you can play around with the hue. It depends on what the highlight is giving you. Some highlights are not corresponding, and are not exactly what the skin tones are. Some highlights can be, it depends on the reference and what you're working on your taste in color. You can make your highlights any color you want. It depends. So we are going to be going with this particular color. So yeah, if you combine this color colors now they are going to be giving you. Let's try using these colors to shade. Let's try using this color to shade. So yeah, for instance, now you've selected this color and you want to paint over it. This is the result you're going to be getting. I'm select my airbrush, then select my. So it depends on your technique of shading, and it depends, but I won't advise you to go deep when you're using such kind of palettes. I won't advise you to go too dark with your shading. So then you select the highlights. So actually it's going to be giving you something like this, and this is just a random guess on what kind of skin tone you're getting. But if you think the darker color is um it's totally off from what you want, you can still play around. You can still, in fact, you can still select you can still pick the color out from your reference. So it's no big deal actually. I've done a tutorial on how to pick colors and how to create color palettes from directly from the skin reference, um, from the skin of the reference. So yeah, I think is the best and the easiest way to get a skin, at least closest to, that's the closest way to get your skin color, that perfect skin color palette. So yeah, and when you select this one too, you can just, let's just try seeing to see how it's going to turn out. I'm just doing like a crash course, not really an in-depth stuff here. Sorry, let's use this color. So yeah, I think this is what is going to be giving us. It really depends on you though, and how you use your colors, and some they even prefer using multiply after they've applied colors like this. So yeah, it really depends on you. It depends on you who is painting the masterpiece. So yeah, it depends on how you play around with your colors. It doesn't have rules actually. You are the ones to create your own rules. So yeah, if you're looking for skin tones like, and also I'm going to advise you, when you get your mid tone, make sure you analyze the shadow. Make sure you analyze the shadow on your reference first before getting um the dark sheet, and the dark shade and the darker shades, and also the highlights. Make sure you just don't do what is contrary from your reference. So make sure you follow according to what your reference is um showing you. So yeah, to get your dark skin color palette, you're going to be moving you're going to be moving your hue to 12, and move your hue to 12, then you move your saturation to 45, then you move your lights to 58. So let's do this. This is the mid-tone. Then you can shift if you want to get the dark shade. You can just shift your light to 20, then shift your saturation to 50, 55, or 56, 55. Then you apply. Automatically you're going to be getting the shadow for the mid-tone. So if you want to get when you want to get your highlights, you can just use your lights, just drag towards your light towards 90 as usual. drag your light towards 90, then you drag your light towards 90, drag your light towards 90, then you drag your saturation and towards 100. So yeah, it's going to be giving you the highlights, but I would advise you to like play around with the hues to get like a proper highlights that you prefer. I would advise you to go towards the yellow or towards the pink. It depends on what you want actually. So yeah, this is how to get the color palette for the dark skinned. And when you're dealing with a darker skin, which is more having more darkness compared to the initial one, we're going to be using our light lights. Just drag your light to when you drag your light to sorry when you drag your light to 50, then you drag the saturation to 40. Let's drag our saturation to 40. You can also drag your saturation lower, so saturation to like 39, 40. It really doesn't depend, it just depends on your reference. You can just play around with all these things. Just make sure you know what you're doing. Then you can just shift your saturation to towards um, towards the right, then drag your lights towards um, the left, and make sure it's darker than the initial color. So we are going with 13. We're going to our light is going to be 13, then our saturation is going to be 61, our hue is 13. So yeah, you can pause the video and screenshot all these numbers to get the accurate to get what I'm actually using accurately, what I'm actually using. When you follow the numbers I use on this tutorial, you can get the skin tone I just did, I just created on this video. So yeah, and to get your highlights, you're going to just move your lights once more towards the 90%, then you move your towards 90, lights towards 90, then you move your saturation to 100. So this is just a way to get your, and you can play around with the hues. So yeah, it's the best way to get your dark skin palette. So thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe and turn off the notification bell to get notified anytime I release a video. So thanks guys for watching. See you in my next video. Bye. Peace.